How is it possible to get all the things done when you are home all day with lots of children in lots of different seasons? Well, if you have the answer to getting all the things done, I would love to see it. And by the way, in this first part of the video, it is a little bit dark, but that is because it's really early in the morning when I wake up, and this time of year, it's still dark outside, and blue light is really bad for you before the sunrise. Bright light in general is really bad for you before the sunrise. So that is just something that I avoid early in the morning. And, I'm not going to turn on bright lights for the sake of filming a video that would create a disturbing environment for me and the baby. So I do have 5 kids ranging from 13 down to 10 months old. And on a typical homeschool day for us, I wake up around 5:45. There are exceptions because sometimes maybe I just had a baby, like a brand new baby, or I'm in the first trimester, or I'm not feeling good, where it's more important for me to get a little rest. But aside from those times, I like to get up bright and early and get a start on my day before the kids wake up. Now, on this particular day, this was a Monday, and I was doing damage control. So I'm taking you guys along with me because, you can have all these perfect systems in the world, but what happens when your entire family gets knocked down with some kind of illness for a week, which is what happened to us 2 to 3 weeks ago, and I still have not recovered from that. We were all so sick over the course of a week. And then we had so much going on. And before you know it, the house was just out of control. And then the day before this, on Sunday, we spent time with my family. So I was starting the week off just so behind. But that happens. That's life. Like I said, I could give you all of the systems and solutions to never letting that happen, but that's just not realistic. So for me, getting up early, before the sunrise, before the big kids wake up, before I have to have breakfast on the table and start the homeschool day, really gives me a great jump start. I mean, we don't have breakfast until 8, at least our main breakfast. You'll see what I mean here in a minute, because the toddler eats before that. When he wakes up around, 6:30, he's hungry. I give him a little something. But the main breakfast is at 8, and then school doesn't start until 9. So, 5:45 to 8, that's a little over 2 hours. That is a huge chunk of time that if I take advantage of that, I can get so much done, and I just feel so accomplished by the time we sit down to eat breakfast. So most mornings I start out by making my bed, and then I get myself ready. There are actual studies that show you are more productive when you get yourself ready in the morning, get dressed. I mean, you don't have to, I know I'm not stunning anyone in my outfit of the day today, or I didn't have a gorgeous hairdo. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying brush your teeth, wash your face, whatever you have to do, brush your hair, put it up, whatever you're going to do, and just put something on that's not your pajamas. And then get going on your day. All right, we're going to take a quick break so I can tell you about the sponsor of today's video. We were designed to be able to get all the nutrition that we need from food, plant food, animal foods, all kinds of foods. But these days, it's a little more complicated with that, living in the modern world, because our food quality has drastically decreased thanks to modern farming practices, soil quality, air quality, and just the difficulty in living a modern lifestyle and sourcing fresh, quality, local food. I wish it could be really easy to just make all that happen, right? But it's not. So all of us have room for supplementation. Many of us have nutritional deficiencies, and those need to be addressed if we want to have our best quality of life and feel our best. One of my go-to longtime trusted sources for quality vitamins, supplements, and minerals is Mary Ruth's Organics. I've been using Mary Ruth's for my kids and I for years now, whether it's for something specific, something targeted, or just covering all my bases with a multivitamin. One of my favorite things from Mary Ruth's is their liquid morning multivitamin with hair growth. I like this especially when I'm pregnant and breastfeeding, and I'm maybe just not getting as much sleep as usual and maybe a little more forgetful than usual, because it's a one-stop shop. I just pull this out of the fridge in the morning and take it, and I know that I've got my really important bases covered for the day. So if I don't like remember to take a bunch of supplements throughout the day, then I'll be okay. I've got all my B vitamins, I got my folate in, which is really important if you're in the childbearing season. And I really love the Listriva formula because it's been shown, clinically shown, to help grow thicker, fuller hair and reduce fine lines and wrinkles in as little as 3 weeks. And those surface level improvements and changes are only possible if something is actually being absorbed and working at a cellular level. And a lot of supplements and multivitamins contain contaminants and synthetics that make it impossible for us to actually absorb them and reap the benefits. But that's not the case with Mary Ruth's. I really appreciate that they are third-party tested. So they are Clean Label Project verified, meaning every one of their products is third-party tested for all contaminants and toxins, and passes the test before it makes its way to me and into my home, which makes my job as far as gatekeeping and trying to keep toxins out of my home a lot easier. I have naturally long hair to begin with, like naturally long, thick hair. I feel like this just keeps my hair looking fuller and healthier rather than, you know, just kind of having that like dull, ratty look that's especially common if you're postpartum or breastfeeding. Right now, if you use my code MRO Hopewell, you can get 20% off Mary Ruth's Organics, and that will work both on their website and on Amazon. So if you have Prime or you're an Amazon shopper, then you can use my discount code for 20% off. Just load up your Amazon cart, put my code in, and you'll see your discount. So I will put more details. I'll put my code and my links for Mary Ruth's Organics website and for Amazon for my favorite products and everything else in the description below the video. Just tap the more button and check them out. Usually first thing I make myself a coffee or like a matcha latte or something, and I will sit down and nurse the baby. He's 10 months old. He still nurses all the time, and he does want that time in the morning. So it's just a great time for me. I've already made my bed, got dressed. I've got my coffee or my latte, whatever. Sit down, maybe get a little time to read the Bible, read something, and nurse him. Spend that time with him, and then get going. By that time, the toddler's awake, so I get him a little snack. That's like our first breakfast, right? You guys know that if you have babies and toddlers, a lot of times they wake up hungry before you're ready to serve actual breakfast. So that's what I do. I just have a little something for them. Just whatever I have on hand. I don't plan that. It's just a little snack, our first breakfast. And then the second breakfast, the actual breakfast, happens at 8 o'clock when the big kids have woken up, started their chores, and gotten going on. Maybe they've, started some things for school. But that gives me plenty of time to get breakfast prepared. However, I still need to be thinking in advance. I do like to be conscious of getting protein in the morning, so I like to have meat thawed out the night before for breakfast, but it didn't happen. Like I said, we were at my parents' late the day before, so I just made oatmeal. Always keep have a rotation of really, really simple breakfast that you can turn to and keep those ingredients on hand for those times when you are not prepared, because you're never going to be prepared all the time. So I got breakfast going. I had gotten the laundry started. That's really helpful to me, is just to get laundry started first thing in the morning. That's actually something my 11-year-old daughter has taken over. All of my kids know how to do laundry. I have trained them on how to do laundry because it's important that every person knows how to meet their own basic needs, like preparing, food and taking care of their shelter they live in, and, keeping themselves clothed, and doing laundry as part of that. So all my kids, boys included, know how to do laundry. However, she is like special. She's our laundry specialist now. She manages our laundry system, but I still help. So I still step in, and if I'm up really early and I notice we're a little bit behind, I'll go ahead and get that started and then communicate to her, what I did, what needs to be done, kind of where I left off. Now, it is amazing when you get sick as a mother, how fast this ship just sinks. A few weeks of getting behind really just piles up. And you can see if you look closely throughout this video, there were just like piles of clothes in the kitchen, there were piles of clothes in the nursery. So many things that needed to be done. So I was really grateful for this time on this Monday morning, got to sip my coffee and then get going on getting my house in order, because Sometimes the mess actually can't wait. It's become such a popular phrase saying, oh, the mess can wait. But sometimes it can't. It actually adds to anxiety and chaos in the home. In fact, my friend, you can find her over on Instagram at A Homemaker's Manifesto. She just wrote a great post about this. So I'll show you a clip here and then I'll link it. Go check it out. Read her work because she always has the best takes. But I totally felt that, in this moment, the mess actually couldn't wait. It had just gotten to that point to where it was really bothering me. 7:30, a little past 7:30. So I got about a half an hour before we eat. Breakfast is done. That's what I love about oatmeal, is it's so easy, and it's finished, but it can sit there on the stove. It will stay warm for a half an hour while I use this time to get some more things done, because my kids know not to expect breakfast before 8, and big kids are not like toddlers where, they're like pulling on my leg and saying, I'm hungry. They're fine with that. They're fine with waiting until 8. So they are awake, they're doing their morning chores, and I am going to stay on this side of the house that I had been working to do damage control with cleaning up, picking up, and I'm just going to finish cleaning this side. I think I can get this done in a half an hour. It's my room, my bathroom, my closet, the laundry room, and the nursery. I'm gonna vacuum, I'm going to mop and try to clean my bathroom rather than moving on and just picking up throughout the rest of the house, because then there's a good chance I won't get to any of the actual deep cleaning today. So that is something that I've learned, rather than try to do the entire house in phases. So like clean up throughout the entire house, tidy up, then vacuum the entire house, and then mop the entire house, then do all the bathrooms. What happens is I never get to those last steps. I'll vacuum and then I won't have time to mop because now the babies need me or something. So I've learned to just pick sections of the house and make sure that each little section gets deep cleaned, and that way we don't have scenarios where it's been a month and the house has not been vacuumed mopped, because I never get to those last steps. So this isn't a perfect system by any means. I'm not a cleaning expert, and just right now we're coming out of having been really sick and then really busy, and about 3 weeks have gone by where pretty much nothing has gotten done. I've vacuumed and done surface cleaning, but I haven't deep cleaned my house in a long time. So that's life as far as I can tell. That's just part of the trade-off with having a lot of kids, is there's no perfect system that works to keep your house in display home mode all the time. And that's another thing that I just am mindful of when I'm looking for inspiration or motivation as far as homemaking and keeping a clean and tidy home. I try to look for moms who have larger families, or a family a similar size as mine, and they're maybe in a similar season, or they've been in my season where they have older kids and smaller kids, because things do change. I'm probably not going to relate to a mom who maybe had 2 kids 5 years apart and they were in school full time. That mom has all day with no little people in her home, and her home probably should look like a display home. That would be a great use of her time, to make sure that her home is really tidy every day when the kids come home. However, my kids don't come home, they live at home. We homeschool, we have a farm and livestock. I have a lot of kids from teenager down to baby, and so things just look different for me, and that's okay. But it is really important to be mindful of that when you're taking inspiration or advice from someone who's maybe making blanket statements, but their life looks nothing like yours. Let's talk about tools for cleaning the home. This is really important because this is a job that is done daily, regularly, cleaning your home. And, I think as women, we tend not to look at the things that we use for cooking, cleaning, whatever we do, as tools. We don't think of them as tools, but we're very quick to acknowledge that, our husband's tools he uses to do, maybe outside work or other kind of work are actually tools that need to be of a certain quality to make his job easier. So when we moved into this house, I think I've told you guys this before, we spent all of our money building the house so that we could keep our mortgage as small as possible. And my vacuum broke, so I just didn't replace it because I didn't have the money to do that. So I swept my entire house with a broom and dustpan for a few years before I replaced my vacuum. And That took a lot longer. It wasn't as efficient, but that was the right tool for me at that time. A broom. Did I say a broom and vacuum? I meant a broom and dustpan. It's really early in the morning when I'm doing this voiceover. Broom and dustpan. That was the right tool for me at that time because that's what I could afford. So that's my first tip. When you're thinking about tools you need in your home for cleaning or cooking, whatever, maybe, you're wanting a grain mill or a stand mixer or some tool for the kitchen. Well, if you can't afford it, it's not the right tool for you at that particular time. Like, if you can't afford it outright, it's not that tool. If you have to finance it, it's not the right tool for you at that time. It's something you just need to save up for. So that's what I have done. Over the years, I have invested in tools for my job as a homemaker just as I could afford them. Now, my vacuum is a Miele, and I love it. As you noticed, it is not cordless and it's not lightweight. It's a beast. But the thing is, it handles the level of mess in our house really well. It's almost like a shop vac, but for inside. It is indestructible. It was actually a hand-me-down from my mom, and then I've had it for maybe 4 or 5 years, and it works perfectly. Whereas I had invested in like a really, top of the line cordless vacuum. I think I actually went through 2, and they didn't even make it a year. So as far as vacuums, I would highly recommend the Miele. It's not cheap. It's actually incredibly expensive, but that's a one-time purchase. That's one of those things that you buy and you have it for 30 years. I don't know. It might even have some of those like higher end appliances or tools for the home have a lifetime warranty. And when you can find something like that, it is worth it because it's a lot more upfront, but you're not going to be replacing it every year or 2. The mop that I was using was a Shark steam mop. I've been really happy with that, especially because we have real wood floors. So I don't want to be soaking our wood floors, which might cause them to warp. So I've had that for a few years. Like I said, very happy with my steam mop, and my little guy's like helping me. The baby's actually kind of scared of it, which is hilarious because he doesn't get too close. He just follows behind as I'm mopping. So we went ahead and ate breakfast at 8. I was able to get a lot done before that. And after breakfast, just depending on the day, I might send the kids outside a little bit to run around, play, maybe do a couple chores before we dive into school, or we might just get going. On this day, we went ahead and we got going because we had been sick, and we weren't really behind because I just like to work ahead. That way, when we encounter times where we're sick or just something fun comes up where we want to skip school for the day, then we don't fall behind. And I have shared this before. I'm not an unschooler. I do follow curriculum. I follow lesson plans. I am structured. I'm not militaristic by any means, but we do have goals every year, every semester, every quarter, every week, and I make sure those get done. Okay, so we spent the rest of the morning, maybe after breakfast, like 8:30 or 9 until 11:30 or noon. It's like a 3-hour block we spend focused on school. During that time, I am sitting with the kids. I am working with them. I have my laptop out and maybe, working on grading from the week before, lesson plans, whatever, but I'm sitting with them and I'm teaching. That is the bulk of my morning. And I only have 3 school-age kids. So 3 hours, I can get a lot done. Sometimes we even finish in the morning. And then I start on lunch. We had beef heart tacos for lunch. That's what I was showing you. Beef heart, if you've never had it, it's just like, I prepare it just like a roast beef, just like a regular roast. And it's delicious. The texture, it's a little leaner, but yeah, my kids, none of us can taste the difference between just a regular, cut of roast beef and a roasted beef heart. And we really like it on tacos. So then after lunch, I always give my kids time, to go outside, run around. Basically after any meal, I like to give them time to just go outside and play and run around before we sit back down and get back to school. So after lunch, I made myself a matcha latte and then got back to cleaning. And my 2 little guys, my toddler and my baby, they do nap and they take pretty decent naps. The baby his nap's not as reliable. because he's just my first one who hasn't been as predictable with his naps. But my toddler, I can get him to take a 3-hour nap every afternoon. It is pretty awesome. But I don't put them down for nap right after lunch. I let them run around and play, follow me with doing what I'm doing or whatever. And then they go down for a nap, maybe 1:30, sometimes 2. And one thing that I like to do is in the time after lunch, when I let my big kids have free time, they're running around playing, the little guys are running around before their nap time, is I like to get a head start on dinner. It doesn't always happen, but I'm always so glad when I do that. That way I'm not running around in the evening with a fussy baby or whatever else came up. And now dinner is on the table later than I had hoped. So what I was doing in the kitchen was I was just browning some sausage because I had planned to make pizza for dinner on this night. Now, we had not completely finished with our schoolwork in the morning on this particular day, but we'd gotten really close. And this was just an uncharacteristically warm day for this time of year. So I just gave my kids the rest of the day off and said, go play outside. And they did. They ran up to the woods. They were so excited. And I figured that would give me a chance to finish up with my cleaning because my husband was at work on this particular day. And I really do like to be finished with this kind of stuff before my husband gets home from work, or just, before the evening. I don't like to be running around working in the evening. That's not when my energy levels are highest. And I just like to reserve evening for family time. A lot of times we are outside, maybe, working around the farm as a family, or we're working on something, but I like that to be as a family where I don't have all of my cleaning stuff out, just, stomping around trying to finish. So I didn't make it throughout my entire house today, but that was okay. I got one side of my house completely deep cleaned, did some organization. Everything was caught up on at least one side, and then I did make it into the kitchen and got a good surface clean in the kitchen. Did not make it to the side of the house with the kids' bedrooms, but once again, that's okay. And my big kids are old enough to where they can do most of that themselves. So what I did was my cleaning cart here that you see. I actually just wheeled that to their side of the house with a vacuum, the mop, and I said, okay, tomorrow you guys can clean your side of the house. So that's, perks of having big kids. All right, that is it for this week. Everything I mentioned, I will link in the comments, all my favorite cleaning tools and anything else we talked about. Don't forget to check out the offer that Mary Ruth's has for Hopewell Heights subscribers before you go as well.